Hello, everybody. Ryan Carpenter here with No BS Golf, presented to you by P45 Knuckle Down Golf. If I haven't mentioned, I probably have many times, be sure to check out www.thegolfpub.com. It is our new indoor golf simulator bar, but it's also where I teach. That is the facility that is now in place that allows me to put you in the best position possible to figuring this whole golf swing out, folks. It's it's the environment and the private kind of nature to the whole place that makes this much more possible. So be sure to check it out. It's an awesome facility, and we're up and going. Lots of good options up there as well. I work with them. We're partners, and so one of the things that's important to me, is providing the perfect environment for students because it matters. It makes a big difference, and they have a lot of great options in terms of being able to use the facility, and so it knowing that that's important. I actually offer basically a membership discount, so members only pricing, if you will, because it is important. And if you become a member there, you're on the path to the right destination. So anyhow, kind of a quiet teaching week, which is actually good in a lot of ways because did a whole bunch of stuff there with players and sent them out to go learn, and you need that time. There's a time relationship here required to getting players to where they need to be. Hold on. And pardon that interruption. So when it's quiet, the hope is they're out there putting in the right time, in the right facility, with the right feedback, focused. I gotta put that little. I want to put a new little flyer together. Just reminding me of that. Anyhow, and so you have kind of these quieter down weeks, and that's hopes that next week we come in ready to rock and roll. So, it also allows me to do more of the stuff I've been doing, and so I'm on round 3. Keep going through this stuff because it takes a little while. But we are on the verge and moving in a certain direction in the whole golf, teaching universe, if you will. And there's, handful of guys out there, I'd say, that, pardon me, sorry, that know where this is going. Not many, though. And so I put a little post up today, and it was just kind of really a general. And the big picture is this. We take a lot of videos and YouTubes and talk about, okay, up here at the top, right? Okay, once you look here, now look here, and well, there's a difference. Okay, right? Yeah, and it's fine. And I would say, especially in the very beginning, when you're just trying to get from, backward reversing, arm collapsing, club out of position, disappearing hands, to way up and over the top and all this crazy stuff we see, that's totally fine. We don't need this high level stuff. It's not important yet. But what is so hard to get players to understand is that down the road, there's a place and a time where you need to be able to understand more of the details of, when you're moving this club here around, this little orbit around you, right? This little circle that goes around your body. How you move the wrists, the fingers, all of these things affect how this, 1 pound maybe golf club works. And so that in itself is a major zone of either lack of information, discovery, uh, or just not even paying attention really at all, to be honest. And I'm a failure to that too. This is why I keep studying and learning. I've gone a long time without, definitely not an expert at that yet. Learning, working on it. But, how we actually what I call input to the club. So, put an action on, do a something to it, right? So how we coordinate motion with that old golf club makes a huge difference. And in a lot of ways, not at all surprising, you start to learn how the combinations come together a little more and whatnot, and you start to go, that's counterintuitive. That goes completely against what we thought that was over there, because look at what we see. And then we talk about it this way, and we're like, well, wait a minute. It looks this, but it's actually that. No wonder we can't get this right. So, anyways, it's an important part of the process, but what I want to leave an impression upon today is that in the beginning stages of development, and that's why there's people don't, it's hard to get people to understand, because it's why I'm going to have these fellas recording with me here this week. It's hard to get people to understand. Look, when I throw at you an evaluation lesson, 9 or 10 different positions or whatnot, I'm not even trying to detail it, to be honest. I'm pretty much just leaving a lot of stuff out on purpose, because you're already like, oh my gosh, so much stuff. And I'm like, yes, I know. The purpose of that is to give you a better way to understand where do you want to go with this thing, okay? Because here's kind of the big picture. Here's the main idea. But we're not even talking details yet at that point. We're not talking about the intricacies of, if you maneuver the wrist this way and this way at the same time, how does that then affect what's going on that eventually occurs by the time you get down to that old golf ball happening from up here at the top portion to impact in 0.3 dang seconds. We can't even begin to touch on that in day one. So there's a point where we get through the first phase, and then we get to the second phase, and then there's a third phase of development and learning. And again, as much as I'd love to hand all that over in just one day, I just can't. It's just impossible. So, and players struggle with this. I'm not going to lie. They struggle with being able to come to the point of commitment. It's probably the most daunting part of this whole process by far. And I get it, because you won't go play golf, right? And especially this time of year. Springtime, heading into the summer for a lot. But I always look at it this way. I'm like, well, okay, you got to this point for a reason. It's not like you don't want to do this and get a heck of a lot better. But if you're going to throw, reasons to not do it at the whole equation, then you got to make a decision, because it's like this. If you don't really make a lot of these changes, you're just hoping every time you go to play golf. And hoping golf is not fun. It's not fun in the least bit, because you're going to make a lot of errors. You're going to have issues. You're going to lose golf balls, all those things. So what I always look at it is, look, I understand, but if you put this off, that just means your time scale is even harder to get ready for the next season. If you take 6 months now and you wait till October or something, right? October to spring is a short period of time. And it's a hard time to get enough done and then be fully ready for the spring. By the spring, we're getting back outside again doing the outside work. So we're not there yet. And so it just pushes that time frame back quite a bit. So I wouldn't personally put it off. I would find a way. There's really about 4 kind of sort of ways in general to go about this, and that's hopefully I have this conversation with a nice lady that I worked with last week and try to figure out which one's the best for her. But no matter what, it's there's really honestly never a point where you kind of peak, get everything figured out. There's a reason tour pros have golf coaches, and they're still working on stuff every damn week, it seems like, because your swing also changes. And then we get to the point where we start to get to more of the the level 2, the level 3, the level 4 type of stuff. And most players, when they've achieved level 1, they kind of happy for a while, but then they kind of go, I think I got a new goal, right? I'm like, yeah, that's what I like to hear. Let's do it. All right, giddy up. Because it's fun. It's fun for me. It's fun for me to see players achieve and then go, I can do more. You turn around, you can do more. And why not? Because, if you've already achieved, well, what's the reason not to keep going? That's how I always look at it. I don't know. It's okay. If you've achieved and you got enough out of it, that's okay too. So, and the big picture is this. If you don't want to do all this working and learning and trying, and fine. There's only one real solution though. Go out and play and don't worry about it. Have fun. And just know you can't expect great results because you ain't worked for it yet. And you're not working on it properly right now. I go to the range, Ryan. Yeah, I know. The problem is you're doing it with a swing that we know has a lot of flaws. You're repeating that swing with a lot of flaws over and over again. And you're not even practicing appropriately. You're not using quality, measurable, focused time. See, all you're doing is swinging a club, and that's it. That ain't getting you nowhere. Get your body moving. Okay, sure, fair. It gets you loosened up. It gets me moving. Okay, yeah. But it's not going to change. It's not going to get rid of the errors and all the lost balls and the heavy hits and the thin hits and that's your current swing. Your current swing is exposing you to that every time you swing. There's just sometimes where you time it up just right and you get a decent result out of it. And that's good. So go out and play. Know that that's going to happen. Don't worry about it. Just let it happen and move on. But if you're getting mad, if you're getting upset, if you're like, I wish I could just get rid of these and hit it more like that, then you got to do something about it, folks. Like, yeah. I don't know anything in life that's just handed over. Like, well, here you go. Now you're magical. You're great, like the guy who worked his tail. If you did something good in your life or you accomplished something, I want to know the one thing, and I want this in the comment section. What have you accomplished where you didn't have to try hard, work hard, put in time in order to achieve success in it? I mean, I suppose there's something out there that does exist, and I want to hear about it. I'd love to hear about it, but I don't know of anything, folks. I've ran into everybody, for the most part, all kinds of peoples, different jobs, different other accomplishments, whether it be musical, playing, whether it be other sport, whether it be like fitness and whatnot. And I mean, so this other one's karate gal. And I'm like, well, how you going to get good at karate? I mean, can you teach karate in 1 week and bam, you got people just doing everything all perfect and great and they're just done with it? I doubt it. So I like to relate things because I've worked my tail off to try to find a better, more efficient way to at least reduce the process for sure. And I have. But it still doesn't mean that it just happens overnight. That's just, unfortunately, not capable. So, but you should definitely know prior to even thinking about doing YouTube and whatever route you decide to take, you should know that there's kind of leveling to it. There's kind of level 1, level 2, like a lot of things. Like you over time, you build up. And so if you're at level 1, you can't skip to level 5 because that's not going to do you a bit of good. So you have to kind of understand that there's a little, there's steps to this, there's a process, and that process is important. So, but that's what I'm spending a lot of time on this week for me, anyhow. So that when I get to that point with folk, I have the better ability to take the detail, the confusion, the difficult information at level 5 and beyond, process it, master it and understand it so I can then reduce it back to, hey, Tom, it's as simple as this. You take your club right here, and I want you to feel like you're about, I don't know, if that's 100%, I want like 10% of that little push move right there. Okay, let's try that. And so I don't have to detail it. I don't have to talk about the 3 degrees of torque and force and all this stuff that all don't care about in the first place. So So yeah, that's what I'm spending a lot of time this week on, and that's what's fun for me is that I continue to, this is what's hard about the range for a lot of you. I can go up the range and not care if I'm trying something a little bit and tweaking it, and if it don't work in ball flight, I could care less. I don't care. I'm usually listening to something. Well, I'm gonna in fact go through this webinar again this morning when I hit some balls, and re-soak and relearn and keep soaking it in. But I'm gonna try some of these little kind of special little input maneuvers and see how it goes. That's part of it. It's taking the info and then actually testing it out. And I spend a lot of time testing stuff out. And ball don't always go that great, and that's hard to do. You got a whole line of people on the range, and back here on the putting green, and over here on this ninth green, and first tee over there, and you're kind of got weird things going on with ball flight and missing it weird ways, and most people won't do that on a range. So going back to the very beginning of this is why if I'm gonna start messing with you in your golf swing. Nobody wants to hear it, especially this time of year, and I get that. But the reality is, inside, controlled environment where you can err and not care, but have feedback so that you know you're moving in the right direction, and it's going to start to take form and shape over time. That's a lot easier to do in a controlled environment. www.thegolfpub.com, and that's why I partnered with these fellas. These are such important things, and it's hard to get people to learn them, especially day one. And we got some folks kind of going through that currently. I hope by next week they're ready to just get back in and engage and keep on with the process, because you don't want to put it off either. You can, but I highly suggest you not do that, folks. So anyhow, I'm going to wrap up for the day. I got a couple things to do, and then I'm heading over to the range. And if you want to meet with me, first of all, evaluation lessons are free right now because I want to give you this information. I want to get you to a point where I can one-on-one just discuss and explain with you. But at any point, if you just want to meet me at the golf pub, I'll be glad to do that also. If you just want to see the facility, come in and have a better conversation with me to understand what's going on, then we can do that. And so, anyways, as always, hit me up on Twitter if you want at P45KDG. Email P45knuckledowngolf@gmail.com. And then here on the comment section again, tell me what you want to talk about. Tell me what you want, questions, you name it. Contact me, whatever. But for sure, please smash that like button and hit the subscribe button. Okay. And that helps me a ton. And then also share that information out there. I do appreciate that a ton if you do that. So for now, I'm going to sign out. This is Ryan Carpenter. No BS Golf, presented by P45 Knuckle Down Golf. Take care, folks.